Hi, I'm Jacob,
And I'm Cam.
and this is Grinder Tales. Welcome everybody to one of the ookiest, spookiest, cummy wummiest episodes of Grinder Tales that you've ever heard. It's October, it's spooky season, and from the get-go, this person has been letting me know that as soon as it is time for the Halloween episode, that they are the guest of choice. And God, are they ever? Y'all, welcome back from episode 8 of season 1, yeah, learning discernment. Um the person that has the most discernment out of any person in the world, Cam.
Happy Cocktober, everybody.
Yes, Cocktober or Locktober, if you
Oof.
were, into dick cages, which is fine, which is fine. If you're owned, you know,
Good
do
for
you,
you.
baby?
Yeah.
There's let's see, there's also I think there's Orktober for people who are like who are into orcs.
I was like, say, do they dress up with like green body paint and like swords and
If
stuff?
you give me time, I can go on to my Twitter right now and
Oh
probably
my God.
find at least five dudes with dad bods, or like, skinny fat dudes, or thick muscle bears who are definitely rolled around in some green paint and have like those like tusks or whatever, like those like bit, you know what I mean, that like, yeah,
That's great.
like an underbite. No, I love it. I love it. We stan Orktober. I think there's also Artober. So all of those porn drawers. Well, I guess anybody that does art. I guess
Yeah,
anybody that does art.
that one is for everybody that does art. I've actually done a couple of paintings for Arttober.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Um, and I'm pretty sure that there are like lots and lots of other Tobers out there that we have not covered that I cannot think of. But once again, I'm sure once I'm beating my meat later tonight on the Twitter machine, I'll find them. I will find them. They cannot escape me. They cannot escape my gaze. Um, yeah, also, Cam, you get to be in the inaugural video episode of season 2 that's going to be on YouTube, because
I'm
we are
so excited.
I have no time for this GoPro situation right now. And I can't use my iPhone because obviously like all of my content is on there. And what kind of grandma would I be if I had to, like, if I sent the photos
You
to my
both.
computer to like click on? So welcome to
Oh.
that. Thank you for dressing so presentably.
Look, this is one of my favorite shirts. My best friend is a drag queen from South Mississippi, and she has three shirts, one that says high salt, one that says low salt, and that one is her joyous, and then the third one is heinously homemade, and it's her with like a wooden spoon going, and I love her so much.
We stand. Which queen is it?
Yes. Estelle Suarez.
Okay.
Believe it or not, one of the stories that I have is from her, and it's gold. I'm so very excited.
Cannot wait to jump in. Shout out to Estelle Suarez, the Queen of Queens of South Mississippi.
The saltiest
Um,
queen of the South.
saltiest queen in the South. Look, the water, that infected water down on the coast with it doesn't have enough salt to kill the flesh-eating bacteria, but it is very salty.
And that's sad.
That is very
You'd
sad.
think that you'd think it'd have enough salt.
It's the Dead Sea, just not in the way that you would think.
Oh my God. So the Dead Sea, I found this out. The Dead Sea is so salty that dead bodies, or just even live bodies that are thrown into the Dead Sea, they just don't sink because there's so much salt. And that is horrifying, honestly.
Well, honestly, well, no, that's just what it's like being a thick boy. That is, I mean, I
Yes.
get in a pool and I'm just gonna float. I can't sink for nothing. I have to force myself. Um, but anyway, yeah, this is the Halloween episode, y'all. This is also the inaugural Halloween episode because we never officially had one last season. I think we ended in June or July. So we were summer babies then, but now we're summer into fall babies. Okay. So let's jump right into it, Cam.
Yeah. So, I used to have the screenshot. This is just one of the easiest ones that I have. I used to have the screenshot of a guy that he had messaged me on Grindr one night, and for anybody that has not been listening since the early seasons, I don't get on Grindr very often for sex. I usually get one just to like chat with people, because any tool can be used however you want it. So I was on one night because I was just bored. It was one of those habit things. And this guy literally messaged me and asked me if I could fulfill a fantasy of his. And I'm all about like at least listening and hearing somebody out. And he goes, I was like, okay, so what is the fantasy? And I will tell you, yes, I can, no, I have zero inclination. He goes, I need you to glue googly eyes to your dick and to do the wiggle worm with your dick. And I was in such shock after that that I never answered him back because I was just like dumbfounded. And I got off Grinder for like a couple of days. I'm like, this is I can't deal with this.
I would need to recuperate so much after that. What?
So the best part is, so I told my therapist about
Oh,
this
you
guy.
had to. I mean,
I
how
had
can
to,
you
and
not?
she goes, "Is there any way that you can get a referral from? There's something there." And I'm like, I'm not talking to him. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I just can't.
Can we? I think maybe we can just acknowledge that maybe this man early on in his life maybe like watched Fraggle Rock
Oh
or
my God. I'm
or
sitting there and
some
I'm sitting there as a 13-year-old just beating my meat to puppets.
to puppets. No, I
To
mean, hey,
puppets.
I mean, look, we as gays can't deny that there is a large amount of our population that does have a fisting kink. And what is puppeteering if not fisting or having strings tied to
Oof.
you? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Um, it would be even weirder if like you got there and in part of his fantasy was like, can you like can you like do like a Kermit the Frog voice, please, dude? Please,
So
just like wiggle that dick in my face.
can you imagine if it was like can you imagine if it was a scenario where it's like a glory hole and it's just the wiggle worm coming through?
Two things. Two things. Um, since Brad has been on here, I guess now we're allowed to make movie references left and right. Because last two episodes were not supposed to be movie episodes, but they ended up being movie episodes. Two things: scary movie, where they do the thing from Scream 2 where like he like sticks his he sticks his ear up
The
at the,
dick
and
through the
like the
ear.
dick
Yeah.
goes through, but also the giant space worm from Empire Strikes Back, where they like fly the Falcon out of the asteroid and it turns out that like it wasn't a cave, it was actually a giant space worm. That's what I'm imagining. That's what I'm
Right.
imagining. But
That's
with googly
beautiful.
eyes. But with googly eyes. Um,
Oh my gosh.
so so I'm gonna be honest, I don't really have any of like the spooky, like the really spooky stories that I have pretty much already been told. Um, except for this one. And this is not really spooky about me, it's spooky about the other person, right?
Oof.
Um, so before we move forward, um, I know you and you know me. So we both know that we definitely believe in the paranormal
Mhm.
for sure. How could you not? I mean, you can. You're totally allowed not to believe in ghosts and the paranormal, sure, but I'm a big believer. I just believe that there are some things that we can't explain. And the paranormal is one of them. Now I last Halloween, um, I think it was shortly before Halloween because that was when Shade at the time was having their Halloween party. And of course, Halloween is gay Christmas. And so I was out there celebrating with, everybody having a drink or five and, mingling. And I met this guy. He was so fucking hot. He had his shirt off. He was little tone with a little bit of a gut, and he had like this cowboy hat on, jeans, and like skull makeup. So like he like used makeup to like make his face look like a skull. It was very hot. I was very turned on. He had a very thick beard. Um, and of course, by the time we left to come back to my place, a lot of that makeup had like melted off. And as a drag queen, I can say setting spray is your best friend. Should have just kept some on him at all times. But suffice it to say, comes home with me. It's about 2 a.m. by this point. We are fooling around. We're having a good time. And, ultimately, it turned into a situation similar to like Louisville, um, in which we'd fool around, we'd come, and then like go to sleep, wake up, fool around some more, come, go back to sleep until like probably like 9 or 10 in the morning rolled around, wake up cuddling, and just start chatting with him, getting to know him a little bit better. Um, and he tells me that one thing that he does is that he remodels homes, specifically antebellum homes. So, listeners and viewers alike, if you are not familiar, yeah, we live down south, like deep south, buckle of the Bible Belt. So there are a lot of antebellum homes around here, more than you would think. And sometimes he runs into homes. Is antebellum before or after the war?
Antebellum is pre-war.
It's pre-war. Okay, yeah. So anyway, so lots and lots of antebellum homes. He remodels them and then resells them. And he lives in some of them while he does so. And so he was telling me, of course, my first question, it's Halloween, you know, like are they haunted? Just out of curiosity. That's how I gauge. I'm like, I gauge people. I'm like, do you believe in ghosts? And instead of just saying, do you believe in ghosts? I'm like, so like, are these homes haunted? And he's like, oh yeah. And like, I was like, he told me, about how like doors would just randomly open and close themselves, how he heard voices and, just stuff like that. And he was like, it's really awkward though. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, I'm not discriminatory about race whenever it comes to my hookups. And I was like, well, what do you oh, oh. And he's like, yeah. And the activity does like pick up whenever I have brought black men home um to enjoy for the evening. And I was just kind of appalled, honestly, because you know what? You know what? The racist ghosts, the racist, like, Southern ghosts makes total sense. But like, if you know they're there, why not just, like find somewhere else to fuck? Like that's just I don't know. I don't know. I would be so I mean, that's the thing. Like, I guess if anything, that is some white people shit though.
That is the epitome of white people shit.
That is such white people shit. Like, oh no, it's fine. Just come on, honey. Yeah, no, come on. We'll fuck. Yeah, no, it's the ghosts. Don't worry about them. Don't worry
Don't,
about them. Trust
don't worry about
me.
the racist ghosts. That they're not here anymore, probably.
Literally, like, don't worry about the ghosts that believe that you should be a slave. Like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Come on. Like, you've got such a huge dick. Like, fuck me with it. Like, come on. Like, no, it's yeah, no. So that's really the only like new like spooky adjacent story that I have. Um, and yeah, it was quite a wild ride. I never saw that man again, but his breath, not no, actually, I've seen that man plenty of times. And I guess we kind of are we're acting like we don't know each other. And that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes one night only can be a wonderful thing. And, I'm not going to push one way or the other. I'm not. I'm not. But
Yeah, so sometimes they are a good thing. Because you can get into certain situations and then see somebody and like in person afterwards, and it is a nightmare. And I believe I have one for that. It perfectly segues.
Okay. Okay.
So, I've been with my partner now for about 6 months. Before him, um, I was working at a bar, as security, and as a door person. So
Hmm.
I would see people come through. So I was generally getting off of work about 3, 4 in the morning.
Hmm.
Again, it's one of those habits, like I'm not doing anything, I'll scroll through Grindr till I fall asleep. Well, this guy messaged me and it's just like, so I'm visiting from out of town. Would you want to come over? And it had been several months since I had done anything. I'm like, oh, sure, why not? He was good looking, and he's generally about what I would go for. So he sends me the hotel that he's staying in because he's out of town. So I show up and he goes, the door is locked. Or the door's unlocked, just come on in. So I come in and like he starts making out with me as soon as I get in, and it's incredibly hot, and I'm like, okay, like this is how a lady should be treated. So we're sitting there and like we're making out and like he is rubbing all over me and everything is just 10, like 9 to 10 stars. Like we're
Rubbing
doing
all
great.
over you. Nine to
Robbie,
10 stars.
y'all, so before we started this, we were talking and I was like, that voice that's so sultry in that new microphone, like so he goes, I'm gonna run to the bathroom really quick. When I come out, like be ready to roll. And I'm just like, okay, like cool. Like so like
What was he
I
doing in that bathroom?
I was stripping everything off, and then because I'm one of those hyper observant things, because discernment is a thing. So I'm looking around, and there's a certain sound that I heard that like I caught in my ear, and I was like, danger situation, get the fuck out. And it was a click, not like a gun, but from a lighter. So
Mm.
old boy was in there, and it took a whole new meaning. Because I heard that later. I was like, he said, be ready to roll. And I'm like, rolling is usually ecstasy. He's making drug references. And if you listen to see episode 8, and I will say it again, in all my profiles, I say explicitly straight that I am not into drugs at all.
Hmm.
What you do, oh, not around me is not my business. But in that situation, especially, So I'm getting dressed. He comes out and he's hard and I notice little trickle of red off his dick, and I look at him. I was like, "Dude, I gotta go. I just got a call from my sister. She is in the hospital. I got to go." I said, "She's in a wreck." I'm telling you, I dipped out with a swiftness because I knew that was a dangerous situation. Just because like he went for the door as I was leaving, and like luckily I got out and like down the way before he could, because he's naked. He's not gonna be that crazy to run after me naked. Let's
Well, we
hope.
hope.
Thank God he didn't. But I was, it was one of those situations where I should have listened to my gut feeling, but sometimes hormones kind of override that. So, I mean,
Hormones, you know.
hormones, every blue moon it does.
You said his dick was bleeding?
Yeah, so what he had done is, and I
Educate
only
my
know this.
please educate me and my
Yeah,
audience for just a
okay,
second.
so anybody that knows me knows that I'm an ex-drug addict. Unlike a normally recovering drug addict, I don't feel a pull towards it. I make the personal preference. I don't want to be around it. So what a lot of people will do is they will shoot up heroin, and because most gay men use cock rings, they will actually just shoot it into their dick because the veins are already there. Um, and like there's a whole like subgenre of porn and uh a whole subgenre of people that do this type of stuff, and it is really terrifying.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, yeah, glad you got out of there.
Yeah. So I got away from that one.
Um, there is an alternate dimension where you heard the click of the lighter, but it was not him, lighting up some getting some spoon sugar ready. Um, it was actually him lighting candles because he was starting a dark sacrifice.
Oh God, that is
Be ready.
thanks.
Face down, ass up for Baphomet, okay?
That
um
is great.
we're gonna get that on a t-shirt. Whenever Grinder Tales like blows up to the point where people start buying
Face
Grinder
down,
Tales
ass up
merch,
for Baphomet.
face down, ass up for Baphomet. Um, so so here's a fun.
I'm so tickled.
And Baphomet has like a huge dick, like a huge donger. Like, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it can curve however Baphomet needs it to curve in order to like fuck you.
So you know that I was in college, I was a biology student, right? So we had a professor that we were just going over like sexual reproduction, and she goes, "These are just some odd animal penises." Um, and one of the ones that has always stuck with me is there are two total animals in the world that have prehensile penises, meaning they can move wherever they need to.
Yeah,
One is tapirs, and the other
not the
is elephant,
tapirs.
and the other is elephants.
So their trunks, their dicks are like their trunks.
Hmm.
And tapirs also.
Yeah. And just to throw it out there because it's going to lead into something else. Um, echidnas. Echidnas have a four-leaf clover-shaped head like this. It technically has heads on its dick. Weird fact, use it as you will. Yeah, I learned all this in Bio 1 in college.
So that is scary. That
Yeah,
is that
right.
is that's horrifying. Um, and also ducks have like curly Q penises.
Okay, so ducks are the only animal in the world that have what is called sexual warfare. Ducks are notorious for raping.
Oh,
So, so female ducks have evolved to have vaginal canals with false canals, false holes. Uh, they can grow not spines per se, but like rough patches.
right.
All this stuff to keep the male ducks from raping them. And male ducks have evolved the curly cues and everything else so that they can navigate these false compartments and everything else. And it's a continuously evolving warfare between male and female ducks.
So essentially, female ducks have turned their pussies into like a dungeon crawler, like an
Yes,
escape room,
yes,
essentially.
except reverse escape.
Right, 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 right,
Right,
right, right, right. Oh God. Okay, they've turned their pussies into a labyrinth.
There's treasure at the end.
There's treasure. Oh,
It's Orktober.
oh God, not Orktober. There are orcs in these duck pussies. They're ready. There's an orc in this duck pussy right now. They've
Oh
evolved them.
my.
They've evolved them.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I guess one more while we're on the subject. I've heard that cats have barbed penises.
Yes. All cats have barbed penises. The reason that they do is the spines that are on the male cat uh are actually used to scrape out um the sperm of competing males. It also helps to signal the female cat to go into heat.
So, wow. Nature, we say that nature
Nature's
is
scary.
is damn nature, you
You
scary.
scary.
You scary. Yeah, no, but now that you've said that, it's going to spread across the world in the airwaves and put itself in the collective consciousness. And the next thing you know, there's going to be a barbed dick kink, and they're going to fashion like dick
Oh
sheaths that have
God.
barbs on them so that people can take loads and then tops can go in and scrape the loads out.
I
Um,
mean, don't the
so prepare your hole right now, baby. Go ahead and put your 19.99 down and reserve your spot.
don't the I mean, haven't the furries come up with something like this?
The thing is, I know that Bad Dragon exists, but I do not go there. So it could
We
exist.
myself and because I'm big into gaming, myself and some of my good friends from a game shop that I used to frequent a lot, we went on Bad Dragon for giggles one day. And I can say that with the exception of everything that's on there, there's only one thing that I would have bought. One.
Okay.
Mhm.
What was it?
And it was a fleshlight.
Oh, what was the mouth?
Normal.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Right. It just a very normal mouth. And I'm just
Oh,
like, that would do it for me.
I feel like that's in the clearance section because like the people that shop at
Right.
Bad Dragon are not just looking for that. Like I think the one time that I ever visited there, they had a Demogorgon dildo. Um,
Like
I I don't think that it opened. It was just like the consistency of the flesh of the Demogorgon, like just like webbed and I don't know. I don't know. It was some kind of demig organ. And
oh
with
my
that, the episode
God.
is over. No. This is your podcast now, Cam. This is
Oh
your
my
podcast now.
God. So we've been talking about odd penises. Um, so I'm gonna tell you. I told you that I had a story that my friend told. It was the second story that I ever heard at Drag Queen Bingo because she would tell
Okay.
stories about her life. Um, so um, my friend Estelle uh
Hmm.
had this guy that she had been talking to, was friends with, and one night he had messaged her and told her that he was going to kill himself. Now, my friend she's one of those people that cares a lot, but would never, ever let anyone know otherwise. Like
Hmm.
she's the salt queen. She has a image to uphold. But when somebody is confiding in you that they're going to kill themselves, they are trying to tell people that are important to them. So
Right.
Estelle used this opportunity to say, look, don't do it. Let me come over and I'll, talk you through it. So, and this is her own words. She said, I did what any red-blooded gay would do. I showed up over there and made out with him. So, uh, to talk him off the ledge, like she was talking, they ended up making out. So, um, Jacob, you've been with an uncut guy before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
So
We
she
love our
reached.
tube songs.
So believe it or not, I actually like uncut guys better
Oh,
than
I don't have a
cut.
preference because nobody can help if they have a tube sock or not, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Nobody
that
gets to
is
make that
that is
decision.
a whole rant, and I can't get into that right
Right.
now. So, folks, if y'all have kids, just let them make the decision. There we go.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, um, she reaches down his pants and starts stroking a little bit. And Jacob, do you know what a star-nosed mole is? You should go look this up really
No.
quick.
No, I
Okay.
know. I know. I know. I know. I know. I've seen I
All right, here we go. So
Cam, don't say
she
it.
she, she
Don't tell
get
me. Don't
she
tell
pulls
me.
his penis out, and when she rolls the foreskin back, it splays out like a star-nosed mole because he had, I forget what it was that he had, whether it was gonorrhea. He had had an STI for so long unknown that it had eat away at everything and that it had healed back like that. And it was it wasn't soft like the head should be. It was calloused. So she, like me, was just like dipped. Like she made a good excuse, but she dipped. And I
Ugh.
don't blame her. Um, I'm horrified of that tale.
I, I I just
You're
I just
dumbfounded, aren't you?
I
I was
hate
dumbfounded
I
too.
I really I hate the circumstances. I hate the whole thing. I hate the whole thing. You start with it's like a Stephen King story. It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna go help my friend. Okay, actually, like there's some chemistry here, and we're gonna, like we're gonna do some sexual healing. And then it's that. It's tendrils and and oh well, um well, that was a grinder tail. That was a
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
grinder tail, all right. Oh God. Oh God. Um,
So years ago, I did not mean to cut you off. I'm so sorry.
no, please go on. Go
Okay.
on.
So years ago, I had gotten on Grindr, and it was one of those times when I actually was like on there trolling for some, like, to fool around.
Right.
So I get this message from this guy that goes, "Look, we're going to have an orgy. Would you like to come? You look like you would be fun." I was like, "Fuck, I have no morals. I don't care." This is before the onset of the morals. So
Correct.
I promised you this in episode 8, and here we go. So I show up, and everybody is in a mask,
Okay, so
and I'm not
eyes wide shut, you know.
and I'm not talking like mask, mask, like full
Like
mask.
a
The only thing that you
like
could
a
see
fencing mask.
more, so like there was one person that had the dog hood. Um, One person had on like the plastic devil mask. I'm convinced, I'm not sure of this, but I'm convinced that somebody was wearing like one of the old school Richard Nixon plastic masks. But everybody was in a mask except me, and I was not told about this. And like I've got three, but I've walked through the door and I've got three people that are like rubbing all over me, and I'm oddly
Yeah.
turned on by this, and was kind of a little shocked that I was even turned on by it. Um, and I still to this date I only know one other person that was there. Um, because it was a friend of mine that had shown up, and he also did not show up with a mask. But it ended up being a really hot thing. I don't suggest that other people do it because, one of those people could have murdered you. And, looking
Yeah.
back at it, this is before the Dick Sertment had taken hold. But yeah,
But you went through with it, is what you're telling me.
I did.
You went
This is before I had morals or a sense of I should probably try and keep myself safe.
did you were you verse or did you bottom the whole time?
I was first.
Okay, so my big question is, did you look the devil in the eyes while you both came?
Uh, Funny that you should mention that. Um, the devil and I were both fucking opposite ends. So we actually did look each other in the eye,
You
but that
Eiffel
was,
Towered somebody with the devil?
yes.
My other question is, was the intensity of the fucking so intense that like masks slipped?
Believe it or not, nobody's mask came off. I was
Okay.
unaware that there wasn't gonna be a like that. I was supposed to wear a mask, or I found something.
So this is giving like Lock, Shock, and Barrel vibes from like Nightmare Before Christmas, kill Mr. Santa Claus. um, I feel like at any moment they were gonna break out into song.
Oh my God.
And then instead of like a
I don't think
confetti
I could have
cannon,
handled that.
they just come all at the same time and just splatter you. Um, Speaking of masks, just a dumb question. Out of all of like the famous slashers, like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, um, God, Leatherface, Ghostface. Oh wow, that's like five. Okay. And I'm sure that I'm probably missing some, y'all, but like don't at me. Don't at me. Anyway, um, who is the most fuckable?
Oh, Jesus.
I have my answer. I have my answer. And it's very
This is
problematic.
this is a hard one for me because like
Also, Ghostface
what
can be anybody. That's the whole thing
attraction's
about
like a
Ghostface.
yeah, attraction's kind of a fluid thing for me. Um, I have an answer, and it's actually for giggles. I think that it would be Nightmare Before Elm Street.
So Nightmare on Elm Street. So
I think it would have
Freddy
been Freddy
Krueger,
Krueger,
Freddy
and the reason
Krueger.
that I say that is I think we could have prevented all of it if Freddy would have just got a blowjob.
But wasn't he like a pedophile?
No, he was a murderer.
No, he was a pedophile murderer. Like he was like he like
He murdered kids, but it has never been explicitly said that he was like attracted to children. The parents believed that he was, but
that's
he never
true.
showed an inclination towards that. And that was part of the problem, if I remember correctly.
That's true, but I think also though, like he did get a little dicey with some like teenage girls,
I-
And
if
the
I were to
se
go with an actual answer, though, I probably would say Ghostface.
okay, because you never know what's gonna be under that ghost face robe.
It could be
Mm-hmm.
surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
My answer, and I say this because it is very problematic. Jason Voorhees. Jason Voorhees is built, he's stacked,
He is.
he
He is.
is super strong. He'll come out of nowhere. Um, and he keeps the mask on. So you're just left to like look into his eyes. Now the thing is, like, the reason that it's problematic is because I think the implication is that Jason was developmentally delayed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Um, which, you know, we're not going to go there. In my fantasy, Jason Voorhees knows exactly what he's doing. He just has mommy issues. Like he's all there. He's all, he's not delayed. Um, he's
You
big and
know,
strong.
young Saw was actually pretty hot. Like
Oh,
shown like when he
Jigsaw.
was younger. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like he was hot when he was younger. Like
I can feel you there. Now, if I
because
was,
I love brilliant. Like I love guys that are brilliant.
yes,
And he
I
was.
I feel you. I feel you. I will also say, um, you know, even though I'm not attracted to women, and even though she has no eyebrows, Pearl, like Mia Goth as Pearl, um, what she was a PYT. She was a pretty young thing. I
So
I I could get it. Could get it.
the one for the listeners, the one that you should avoid at all cost is absolutely Pinhead.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you are going to go into it thinking that, you're going to like I don't think there's a single like BDSM person at all that is going to be like even remotely sexually excited by the amount of pain that you are fixing to be put through.
Correct. And he takes BDSM so far to the extreme. I
It's
mean,
not even that anymore. It is just flat out torture.
it is. It is. But then
And
again,
like
like, you know, there are some people that there is a kink for everything out there.
so I remember reading a couple years ago so in a subset of BDSM, they have people that are into the slave and owner relationships.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
there are people out there that it's safe to do that with. Um, but there is conversely the opposite. I would state that if you're going to be into this so that you can avoid what I'm fixing to tell you occurred, um, always keep somebody that you're never alienated from, that you can say, "Hey, I need help, get me out." And that's no matter what. Like there is like, especially if there are established rules and you say no and they ignore that, that's no longer a safe thing for you. Um, there was a lawsuit from a family a couple years ago because their son had died. The their son's master,
Are you talking about noodles and beef
the guy with the
with
silicone,
the silicon? Yeah.
yeah, his master had injected his balls with so much silicone that he died,
Yes. It got into
and
his
that's
bloodstream and he didn't want to
and
do it. And he tried to
he
run
didn't
away
twice.
twice.
He tried to run away twice, and his family didn't have like wouldn't help him because they kept saying, "Oh, well, you made this bed, you need to lie in it," and then, then he died, and they were just like, "Oh, he should have reached out for help." He did.
And here's my 2 cents in here. Cam, thank you. That was very, you know, in line, yes, if that is something that you want to do, like, yes, be safe, but also like I'm here to say, why don't we just not? why don't we just why don't we just let that be a fantasy
I
that
mean,
stays a fantasy and does not become a all-consuming lifestyle? Because when you
that part.
after
It,
after that after that person, I think his name was Tank, after Tank died, I mean that wasn't his real name, but that that's the thing. I was somebody that enjoyed noodles and beef content before. Wow, that was a really loud car engine. I was a person that enjoyed noodles and beef content as a casual observer, and not in the way where it was like I kept up with like the whole like behind the scenes stuff where it's like, oh, here's me and my boys all sitting down to have dinner. It was literally just me like looking at the porn. So then after it came out and I was like, wait, I recognize that dude's huge ass. Wait a minute, what's going on here? And then I investigated. I was like, oh, this was like a sex cult.
yeah,
This was like a sex cult where they were
and
all required to inject themselves and also make their bodies look a certain way.
that's the important thing that you said is all consuming.
Hmm.
It is perfectly okay to have a kink. It is
Yes,
perfectly okay to want to explore things. I mean, hell, we all had to explore at some point to realize that we liked certain things or we didn't like certain things, and that's
I liked men.
perfectly fine. Ah, it's don't let it become all consuming. It's like I don't remember what the exact term is, but the people that their entire fantasy is just to contract HIV and like
Bug catchers.
incredibly, yeah, it to get as many STIs as possible. Like that's not healthy. And it's they can do it to a detrimental point.
Hmm.
Um, if you're gonna try something, just be safe with it. Like have somebody that you can contact. Um, don't ever give up your like full freedom for anybody. Like,
No,
mm-mm.
I mean, like, that's the thing, I think also just, BDSM is one thing, and like having like a power dynamic and here we go. I know this was supposed to be the Halloween episode, but this is scary in like a real way, in like a true crime kind of way. In which case, like, having a power dynamic is like generally the whole point of BDSM, and a power dynamic is fine. But like when we go back and we open our history books and we look at like the socio psychological toll and complete lack of humanity anytime that a group of people has been subjugated to slavery, I just don't think that there's anything sexy about that, um I understand, like, okay, like this is like, oh, it's like a sexual fantasy or whatever. But I think at that point, like, before we explore fulfilling that fantasy, maybe we need to explore where that fantasy is coming from for us. Because I once again, I think that it's kind of like the whole spiel that I did on race play. I think that it is very problematic, and once again, like, please, like, do some critical thinking.
So I think that thinking about it from a logical standpoint, because I'm kind of like I'm not on that spectrum. Like I will the greatest thing that any of my boyfriends has ever done and what my current partner understands inherently about me is my freedom to do whatever the hell that I want to do
Correct.
is the most paramount thing to me. If I want to go do whatever it is and it does not violate the terms of our relationship,
Right.
I'm going to do it because I want to. And it's something it is a very selfish thing. In the same vein, I've never had the ability to be selfish, and I won't give that one thing up. So, for example, like I'm driving to go see my parents in 2 weeks, and I'm going down and going to see my friends in 2 weeks, 6 hours away. My partner already knows. I've already told him, I'm like, look, I'm going down by myself to
Hmm.
the coast to I'm gonna go see my friends. I'm gonna go see my family that I haven't seen, for months now. I'll come right back to you. And while I'm down there, nothing's going to happen. And he knows that nothing's going to because I'm one of those
There's
rare
trust.
people that, well, there is trust. And it's the fact that he also knows I can't do non-monogamy. I'm a fully monogamous person. I tried,
Correct.
I tried polygamy before. Um, and it doesn't work for me. It works for some people, and for those people, I am super happy for you.
Hmm.
But for me, I have to be with that one person. Um, but but yeah, that freedom's not being given up ever.
Absolutely. And just to kind of to put a bow on it, like once again, like power dynamics, fine to explore, can be hot to explore, whenever there is a shift in power or balance of power or whatnot, but also like, baby, don't take it too far. Um, if post nut clarity makes you feel weird about it, listen to your intuition. Listen to your
I don't know.
intuition.
I've gotten post nut clarity from fucking a fleshlight. So yeah, no.
I mean context, right?
Right, right. So I do have a final story for
Okay.
to close this out because I
Okay.
think that we're about on our time. The most horrifying tale that I have. So I went years ago. I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's when I started my hopping through the United States,
Uh-huh.
and I I landed a date with this, and I mean, so if you use the scale, I
Hmm.
would consider myself a solid seven and always
Okay.
have, and that's where
Okay.
I'm going to be. And he's like an 11, like a legitimate, like smoking hot
Okay.
guy.
Okay.
So I land this date, and I'm just like, oh my God, I get to go on a date with this guy. So I drive over, and I was going to pick him up because, that I was trying to be romantic about it, like be impressed. So I had texted him, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I come up just to pee really quick? I've driven across. Charlotte is one of those cities that you have to drive like an hour across it. So I was like, do you mind if I just come up and pee really quick? He's like, that's perfectly fine. So I walk in. He's got a very nicely, very clean apartment,
Hmm.
and he hollers through the thing. He's like, finishing getting dressed. The bathroom is the first door on the left hand side. So I walk in, and I start to pee, and I go to wash my hands, and this is when I notice a few odd things. There's no shower curtain. A shower curtain is something innocuous. Like you don't go looking for a shower curtain, but if it's not there, it's something that you just notice.
Right.
There are no towels. There's no hand towels, nothing like that. No soap, nothing like that. And like there's no hand soap. And there's all these paper towels in the trash bin.
Hmm.
So I exit out, and I walk out, and he's like gorgeous. I
Hmm.
mean, fully dressed. So I was like, I have a odd question. And he goes, sure, what is it? I said, so I wasn't able to wash my hands after I used the restroom. Um, and there's no hand towels, there's no shower curtain, there's nothing like that. He goes, oh, I don't shower. He goes, I use Lysol wipes on my body every day. And I looked this man dead in the face and I literally told him, I was like, I'm sorry, but this ain't gonna work. And I left. And I apologized profusely, but I was like, I can't do that. That is a realm of weird I cannot aspire to be.
Yeah,
How many Lysol wipes did he go through in like a week?
but the real question, real let's all let me ask
Let's unpack that.
let's unpack that. Um, you know, I I've never cleaned my body with Lysol wipes. Let me start there. I have not I've not cleaned my body with
I have
Lysol wipes.
wiped a portion of me with a Lysol wipe. If it was
Okay,
something especially dangerous, like, if I got blood all over me,
right. I
and that's
mean,
what I had,
well,
but
sure. However, um, I can only imagine that wiping certain areas of my body with a Lysol wipe could actually prove painful, um, potentially chemically unsafe. You know,
like the some of the body, do you remember the old Axe body washes from like the 2009 2010 era that
yes,
had menthol in it?
yes.
Do you think it's like that?
I feel like it doesn't have a cooling sensation though. I feel like it is a very much a burning sensation that just won't stop for a
Do
minute.
you,
Like
do,
like
do you
I go ahead.
do you think do you think that his dick tasted like a lemon bar?
I I feel like if anything, his dick tasted like lemon pine sol or like lemon
Ugh.
pledge. And that's the thing. That's the thing too, is I think that there's a way that's also the thing is I don't associate the smell of lemon with the human body. I don't associate it is of course lemon scent is a clean scent, but I do not associate it with a clean human.
And see, I
Um
don't I don't like I don't like the taste of lemon in desserts. Like
oh, I do.
there's one dish that I make that, and it's not a dessert, that has lemon as like the taste, and I like it, and that's it.
So let me also say, Cam, there are actually you have told way spookier stories and scarier stories. In fact, I recently re-listened to all of season one, and specifically the story that you told about that glory hole where you thought it was a mannequin, but it
Oh, the
actually was a
mannequin.
human being. That
Look,
was
and
look,
so I went. I'm gonna place my phone down like upright just for a minute so I can open this pizza.
that's fine. That's fine.
Um, I actually went back and listened to season one just so I made sure not to tell the same tales before.
Yes.
Because the first, like, that's my go-to scary one is the mannequin, because like that is terror. Like that is like in the tops of the scariest stuff. Is that
I
that fucking mannequin terrified me.
I would not know what to do, Cam. And looking like that's the thing. Like, I mean, I I wish that I wish that you had saved that for this episode because like that just like I mean, and then to cap it all off. So just to recap, anyone that has not listened to Cam's first episode, Learning Discernment in season one, I'll go ahead. Look, y'all still listen to the episode because there's still plenty of great content on it. However, um, essentially, Cam went out to the middle of nowhere to a trailer where there was no cell
Oh,
phone signal for a
do you want me
glory
to
hole.
retell it? Because I'll retell it.
Yes,
Okay, Redux time. Since I have
Redux.
to Redux. since I have to wait on my pizza now. Okay, so I had gotten this message on Grindr about coming out to fool around with this guy, and he was incredibly attractive. So I was like, okay, well, it's again, it's one of those wild hairs that I got where I felt like going out and fooling around with somebody. So he sends me his address, and he goes, the back door will be unlocked. Just walk in, and I'll be ready, like face down, ass up
For
for
Baphomet.
Baphomet. So I drive out there, and so the yard is like pitch black except for a light, like almost like a floodlight that was pointed towards the road. And thank God that was there because the path had like these carved into the ground um trenches, and that there had been little bitty bridges built over for me to
Hmm.
walk across. So I'm walking like I can see where I'm going. So I get up there, I go into the door, I take off all my clothes, or
Cam, Cam, before you go on, I just have to say, after we're done recording, I have a question, and we can continue. It's
oh
a
boy, howdy.
yes,
I'm
yes,
so
yes, yes,
excited.
yes, yes.
If it's did I keep in touch with them? No, I did not.
That's not the question, but yeah, yeah, it's
So,
personal.
oh Jesus. So I ended up so I took off all my clothes, and like there's this sheet hanging down with a hole cut for the glory hole. And in the corner is this mannequin that's dressed up, and there's like all this like kind of more spooky stuff around, like old dolls and stuff. And I'm just like, this is, creepy, but dude behind the thing was hot. So I start going to town on this guy, and um, like I finally get off. There's porn playing on a TV, and that's what actually had to distract myself with because there's dolls watching me, and although they're not people, I'm not into voyeurism. And I'm like, this doll's watching me.
And the thing is,
So
like, I know that it's probably like a normal, like, modern TV, but in this scenario, I imagine it's one of those old box TVs with like the bunny ear antennas. Like, it's grainy and like the
it
the
so
the, the audio is distorted.
it
Like,
was not a flat screen. It wasn't the old style, but it was definitely one of the the older types of
right,
TVs.
right.
And you can tell that it was a DVD. Like, so I get off, and I like pull out, and all this, and like clean up, and I'm kind of starting to walk back, and the mannequin moves and stands up and is just like, thanks for fucking my boyfriend. You should come back over again sometime. And I panicked. Like, I shot back to my car, and I never went back. Like, to this day, that haunts the shit out of me.
I just feel like I feel like that's like, you know how there's like the 13th gate like down in Louisiana, and like, haunted houses and whatnot where like the actors come out and like scare you. I feel like this is the Grinder version of that.
I feel like he's one of those guys that has like the white blue contacts and just keeps like cocking his head further, and you're afraid his
Yes.
neck is gonna break.
Yes. Like definitely, yeah. It's also giving like odd like gay like log cabin Republican vibes. Like,
Those
for
don't
some reason,
exist.
baby, I wish log cabin Republicans didn't exist. I wish they didn't. But yeah, so Cam, you you scary bitch. Thank you so much for coming back to Grinder Tales yet again.
I am more than happy to come back and share my horror tales and random facts with everybody.
The thing is, like, I feel like you have so many. Like, I feel like I could like throw a topic at you and you'd be like, yeah, I have a Grinder Tale for that. Like,
But like I feel like every season that you do, there's just gonna be a me episode, and I'm just gonna come like, hey, so what's the topic? Oh, I got this. Let's five stories. Let's roll.
and you know what? That's how it should be. That's honestly, you are my ace in the hole. Now,
So,
which hole are we talking about? It's anybody's fucking guess.
So, I actually have a to end this, I have a very positive update.
Okay.
So, do you remember in season 8 when I was telling you about the story about picking up the guy and helping him like get to his
Yes.
house and we ended up in
Yes.
the woods? Okay. So, he messaged me and said, "I just wanted to tell you I'm sorry." And I said, "Broski, I'm one of those forgiving people. You've been forgiven a long time ago.
Right.
Wash my hands of thee." He goes, "Oh, I just wanted you to know that I'm getting sober." Because I've
Hmm.
been put myself in a program.
Mhm.
I've been sober for like 2 months now. He is now on, I think, 5 or 6 months sober. And he is doing really good. He's still with the program and he is helping other people to get sober. And I'm super proud of him.
Well, everybody here at Grinder Tales is also really proud of him. That's incredible.
And he
Um,
apologized for what he did. And I was just like, that right there means more to me than anything else. Is that
Absolutely.
you took the time to apologize for what you did.
Absolutely. And like honestly, like I just if more grinder goers could be the same, I think that there would be less of a reason to have this show.
If people on Grindr were nicer to each other, and honestly, in the community as a whole, were just nicer to each other, there wouldn't be a podcast. So, to all of you mean gays that are out there, thank you for making this possible.
Truly, truly.
Truly,
Thank
truly.
thank you, mean gays. Thank you. Your shallow judgmentalism has not gone unnoticed. And here I get to rake you all across the coals. And you like it, don't you? You like You're gonna get spit roasted with Satan. Face down, ass up
Ass
for
up for
Baphomet.
Baphomet.
For Baphomet.
I want the second shirt that you make that has that on it.
Absolutely.
I that is so fucking funny. I can't even.
Fuck me, demon daddy.
See.
Um, so yeah, well, Cam, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your night. And everybody out there who's listening, I hope that you have a great rest of your time. Y'all, never forget that you are all loved, you are all worthy, and I will see you next time right
Happy
here.
Cocktober.
Happy Cocktober, happy Cagetober, and happy
Happy
Orktober.
Orktober.
Happy Orktober.
Orc.
Orc. Orktober. You get some of that orc dick. Um
Orcussy.
Orcussy. That wet, purple, slimy
I'm
Orcussy.
done. I'm done. I'm done.
Anyway,
I'm done.
anyway, thank you all, and I will see you right here next time on Grinder
Grinder
Tales.
tails.
Thanks for tuning in to yet another episode of Grinder Tales. If you enjoy the show, you can help me out by rating, reviewing, and subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. If you're on YouTube, you can smash that like button and hit the bell notification icon. If you want to keep up with all my slutty shenanigans on social media, you can follow the Grinder Tales Facebook group or at Grinder Tales Pod on Instagram. Slide in my DMs if you're bad. Now, if DMs aren't your thing, you can always send me fan mail or hate mail to grindertales@gmail.com. Thank you once again. You are all beautiful, you are all worthy, and I will see you next time right here on Grinder Tales.